Hello everyone, and welcome to our lecture on naming covalent compounds, more about the language of chemistry. Alright, so we learned before about how you name ionic compounds, and you guys did some practice on naming ionic compounds, and that was relatively straightforward. You got that under your belt now, so we're gonna add a new component. Now we want to name covalent compounds. When we have a binary compound, which remember binary means two atoms, two kinds of atom only, a compound formed by two non-metals, we use a different system to name it relative to the ionic types. So when you have a covalent compound, a binary covalent compound, we're going to use this different system to name them. And it's actually very simple. There are prefixes that describe the number of atoms of each type that you find in the compound. All right, so let's see what that looks like. Here are the prefixes that you use in front of the element names. Mono means one. You're going to probably want to write these down. Di means two. Tri means three. Tetra means four. Penta means five. Hexa is six. Hepta is seven. Octa, 8. Nona, 9. And deca means 10. These are the prefixes that will go in front of the element name, like you'll see in a second. So you need to be familiar with these guys and be familiar with what each one means. All right, so this is how we actually do it. The prefix, you start with a prefix that indicates the number of atoms of the first element, and then you state the name of the first element, and then there's a prefix that indicates the number of atoms in the second element, and the root name of that second element switched to IDE ending, just like we did with ionic compounds. All right, so get those down, and then we'll look at an example. Okay, let's name this compound. The compound here is PCl3. All right? So now we only use the mono prefix, which means one, for the second element if it's necessary. We don't use the mono prefix with the first element. So the name for this is phosphorus trichloride. Phosphorus trichloride is the name of this compound. We don't use the mono in front of the phosphorus. It's not monophosphorus trichloride. Mono is only used if it is needed in the second word. So phosphorus trichloride. Easy. Here's another example. N2O4. All right, so there are 2 nitrogens and 4 oxygens. Our rules tell us that we state the prefix for the first word, so di, and the first element is nitrogen, so dinitrogen, and the prefix for the second, which is 4, tetra, and oxygen, but in its IDE form, which should give us dinitrogen tetroxide. Now note here that we took the A out of tetra. Tetra was the prefix for 4, but we don't have an AO right next to each other in the word. It's just tetroxide. All right? Here's another example. Nitrogen and oxygen with 2 oxygens, 1 nitrogen. What's the name for that? Well, we don't want to use the mono again, so it's just nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide. Okay? And our last example is S2F10. S is sulfur, F is fluorine. There are 2 sulfurs, there are 10 fluorines. So we have disulfur decafluoride. And it's IDE ending, of course. So deca means 10, fluoride, disulfur decafluoride. That's how we do it. Super easy, right? Thanks.